Hello, boys and girls.
Hello.
We decided to just record the writing in Mrs. Burnett's room from the beginning.
We're playing it safe today.
Yes, we don't want to do it 6 times. So, hopefully just one time.
Yes.
And this is it. All right. Yesterday, you worked on using dialogue in your fictional stories, and you guys did an awesome job having some of your characters saying things in the text, in the actual text. So that was great hearing those. Today, we're going to, so far we've done character, setting, and you did your problem yesterday. You introduced the problem in the story, the cloud on your story hand. Today, we're going to talk about event 1, event 2, and event 3. So what are the things that happened in your story? Sometimes in fictional stories, we say beginning, middle, and end. So Mrs. Burnett is going to show you her event 1, 2, and 3 about Mrs. Brown. And if you remember, we left off her story with the carpet catching on fire because that was the problem.
Yes.
So now we're going to figure out what happens after the carpet catches on fire. And one thing that you're going to see Mrs. Burnett do, and she'll probably talk about, but I want you to make sure you go back and reread what you have before you start putting event 1, 2, and 3 in your writing.
You're going to want to read your story hand also, so that you know what needs to come next. All right, so I'm going to look at my story hand first, and I'm going to look at everything I've already done. I've already done the character, I've already done the setting, and I've done the problem. You should have each of these in your story now. Character, setting, and problem. Today we're going to go to the event 1, event 2, and event 3. So event 1, the principal, Mrs. Brown goes to the principal, Mr. Flamerson, and he's busy with students, so he couldn't help. Then she goes to the nurse, Mrs. Red, and she couldn't help either because she was busy helping a sick student. Then she went to the custodian, Mr. Blaze, and he was busy cleaning, so he couldn't help either. So those are what I'm going to add today into my story. All right, let's go ahead and read what I have so far, and then we will start adding. Okay, it says, at Dreaming Dragons Elementary School, the first day of school is always exciting for Mrs. Brown. She loves meeting her new dragon students. Everyone is so excited to be back from summer break. Welcome to my class, fellow dragons, Mrs. Brown said. As she was talking, firing flames shot out of her mouth. Oh no, said Donnie. The carpet is on fire. All right, so there's where we left off. I'm going to tell what's going to happen next in my event 1. So I'm going to say something like, Mrs. Brown ran out of the classroom to find help, or Mrs. Brown rushed out of the classroom to find help. Mrs. Brown rushed out of the classroom.
So earlier I talked about how this is in fictional stories usually the beginning, middle, and end. It's also sometimes when we talk about what happened first, next, and last, we're filling out graphic organizers.
So who did she find first? She found Principal Flamerson. So I'm going to say she found Principal Flamerson. Principal capital? Or just Flamerson?
I think just Flamerson.
Just Flamerson. Principal.
Because it's not his. Flamerson is his name, but Principal is not his name. It's just his title.
Yes. Principal Flamerson. Okay. Isn't it funny that I chose different things like flames or blaze or
it
red?
Is so funny.
It's kind of funny.
You got to pick their names.
Exactly.
It's a fictional story. Yep.
All right. So she found Principal Flamerson, and she's going to say, "My carpet is on fire. Can you help?" So we're going to put quotes around it because she's talking. My carpet is on fire. Can you I'm going to go to the next page. Help. said Mrs. Brown.
Remember how important it is to say the says or said so that your reader knows who's talking.
Okay. And Mr. Flamerson is going to say, I am far too busy. That means he's way too busy. Mr. Oh, it's a long one.
Got a long last name.
Said. Okay, so I put quotes around what he said, and then I said, Mr. Flamerson said, so we know who's talking. All right, now she's going to go to someone else because Mr. Flamerson can't help. So she is going to go to...
We're on to event number 2.
The nurse, Mrs. Red.
Mrs. Red
Brown
because...
hurried to find the school nurse.
Yes.
I wonder why she's hurrying.
Probably because her carpet's on fire.
Yeah.
I'd probably be hurrying too.
Hurry to find Mrs. Red.
Notice how all of the names in our story have capital letters because they're proper nouns.
Proper nouns.
She hurried to find Mrs. Red, and Mrs. Red said...
The school nurse.
Oh yeah, you gotta label who she is.
Yeah. All right, Mrs. Brown's going to say, my carpet is on fire. This is a lot of writing today.
It is. Make sure you have your writing hand ready. You may have to take a couple breaks.
Can you help? Notice she says the same thing to each person. I kind of did that on purpose.
My carpet is on fire. Can you help?
Said Mrs. Brown. And she's going to say the same thing that Mr. Flamerson says. I am far too busy. I am far too busy. Replied.
Ooh, I like the word replied. So she changed it up instead of saying said again. Replied is another word that means the same thing. Yeah. So we can use them interchangeably.
Yeah. Replied Mrs. Red. So now I'm going to say something about how Mrs. Brown goes to the next place because Mrs. Red can't help. So now she's going to find the custodian.
And we're on event 3.
Mrs. Brown ran down the hallway and spotted Mr. Blaze. Mrs. Brown ran down.
I like how in all of the sentences that Mrs. Burnett is using, she's indicating that Mrs. Brown is going fast and quickly by using words like ran and hurried. And that indicates that there's probably an emergency and she's trying to find help.
I'm going to say who it is. The custodian. Spotted Mr. Blaze, the custodian. Okay? Then I'm going to say the same thing I've been saying. My carpet is on fire. Can you help? I need a new pencil. I'm running out of... That's how you know you're writing a lot. You run out of... and
intermission.
You know that you use a lot of pencils when... Oh, there's one.
Perfect.
Okay. Got it. My carpet is on fire. Can you help? Can you help? Said Mrs. Brown. You have to have those quotation marks to end that. Okay. My carpet is on fire. Can you help? Said Mrs. Brown. And he's going to say the same thing. I am far too busy. So you could change up what they say. I think it kind of makes it funny that they all say the same thing. I'm far
And some books do repeat
too busy.
a lot. Some fictional stories do repeat a lot.
Mr. Blaze said. Ooh, I almost spelled said wrong. Okay.
So now she's gone to Mr. Flamerson, Mrs.
Yes.
Red, and Mr. Blaze.
And no one is helping. So she's going to run back to her classroom, afraid of what she might find.
She's going to rush back to her classroom.
Yes. Mrs.
I like that word, rush.
Rushed. Yeah. Rushed.
Because Mrs. Burnett could have used the word ran. Mrs. Brown ran, Mrs. Brown ran, Mrs. Brown ran, but she used different words to make it more interesting to the reader. Rushed and hurried. Perfect amount of space.
Okay, so that I did all of my 3 events, and I made it sound nice on the transition too. So we're not just going to list the events, we're going to kind of make it sound like it flows together.
Yep.
So let's see.
Because remember, your events that you put on your story hand are probably not actual real sentences.
Right.
They're
Yes.
just a couple words to help you remember what you were going to put for those events.
Right. All right, let's go ahead and read the whole thing, make sure it makes sense, and see if we need to fix anything. At Dreaming Dragons Elementary School, the first day of school is always exciting for Mrs. Brown. She loves meeting her new dragon students. Everyone is so excited to be back from summer break. Welcome to my class, fellow dragons, Mrs. Brown said. As she was talking, firing flames shot out of her mouth. Oh no, said Donnie. The carpet is on fire. Mrs. Brown rushed out of the classroom to find help. She found Principal Flamerson. My carpet is on fire. Can you help? Said Mrs. Brown. I am far too busy, Mr. Flamerson said. Mrs. Brown hurried to find Mrs. Red, the school nurse. My carpet is on fire. Can you help? Said Mrs. Brown. I am far too busy, replied Mrs. Red. Mrs. Brown ran down the hallway and spotted Mr. Blaze, the custodian. My carpet is on fire. Can you help? Said Mrs. Brown. I am far too busy, Mr. Blaze said. Mrs. Brown rushed back to her classroom, afraid of what she might find.
Yep, and notice we didn't put the solution yet, so
Nope.
that will come.
And you will not put that either.
Right. Now, Mrs. Burnett, I have a question. On your second page there, what would you put in the picture box?
Ooh, this one?
Yeah.
Okay,
That would
so
be a
let's
good
see.
picture to go there.
Rush out of the classroom to find help. She found Principal Flamerson. So I would either put Mr. Flamerson
Mm-hmm.
and her talking,
Uh-huh.
or maybe the school nurse.
Yeah, and could you choose which one you wanted?
Yeah.
It's your book, right?
Yep. And it would make sense to have one of them because that's the part of the story that you're reading.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Awesome. All right, boys and girls, you are going to do the same thing that Mrs. Burnett just did. So you're going to take your story hand, you're going to use it, and you're going to do event 1, 2, and 3 today.
Yep.
So your hand sore from
Yeah.
writing so much? Your hand might get a little sore, but we want you to make sure you're writing for the full 20 minutes.
Yep.
Trying to include those 3 events, not the solution yet. So you want to leave, when you share your writing with us on Seesaw today, you want to leave us hanging.
Yeah. Not knowing what's going to happen.
Suspense. We just can't wait to hear it.
Yes. All right. Happy writing.